did not dare eat anything because I was afraid I wouldn't keep it down.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a pioneer for women's rights and won key cases arguing before the Supreme Court in the 1970s. The first time she stood before the highest bench.
Of course, I was very nervous. I had a first sentence written out and memorized. And then I looked up at the bench and thought, here are the most important judges in the country, maybe the world. And they have to listen to me. I have a captive audience. And suddenly, instead of getting nervous, I had a sense of empowerment. I knew a lot more about gender discrimination than the 9 of them did.
Justice Ginsburg was the second woman named to the Supreme Court bench and gives advice to her 2 current female colleagues only on request.
My model was Justice O'Connor.
What was her best advice to you?
Well, the best advice she gave me was when I had colorectal cancer and Justice O'Connor had had breast cancer. She was on the bench 9 days after her surgery. So I didn't match that, but I didn't miss any sittings. And I was here 2 weeks after my surgery. Well, her advice is typical of Justice O'Connor. Now, arrange your chemotherapy on Fridays so that by Monday you will be well enough to come to the court.
It is not the first or last time in her life that Justice Ginsburg faced cancer. After colon cancer, she also battled pancreatic cancer. Her own mother died of cancer before her high school graduation and never dreamed her daughter could be a lawyer or someday a judge and justice.
She said, be independent. And that was an important message. And her other message was be a lady, which didn't mean what one might think it does. It meant don't waste time on emotions that don't do you any good.
For 2.5 years, Justice Ginsburg sat as the only woman on the Supreme Court.
After Sandra left, I felt very lonely. And it was the wrong image for the school children particularly to come in and see this bench with 8 men and 1 very small woman. Now I sit toward the center by virtue of seniority. Justice Kagan is at my left and Justice Sotomayor is at my right. We look like we're all over the bench. We're here to stay.
Justice Ginsburg continues to fight against gender discrimination, race discrimination, and for gay rights. You recently became the first justice to officiate a gay marriage. Why did you think it was important to perform that ceremony?
Society had grown up enough to recognize that if 2 people love each other and they both are women or both are men, why should the law put up a no sign?
The justice says the country turned the corner on race discrimination when it ruled to allow mixed-race marriages in 1967.
And I consider that Loving v. Virginia decision the end of apartheid in America.
As co-director of the Women's Rights Project for the American Civil Liberties Union, she is credited with helping to turn the tide for women's equality.
We wanted to say that the law should not pigeonhole people, that man or woman should be able to do whatever his or her talents made right for that person. I was fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, but the 70s was a time of change.
Justice Ginsburg met her late husband of 5 decades on a blind date. The mother of 2, she shares a long friendship with Justice Antonin Scalia and his wife that began when the 2 justices served together on the D.C. Court of Appeals. Here they are on an elephant in India after a judicial exchange.
He makes me laugh. Many people don't. We share a love of music, particularly opera. We care a lot about family.
And now the 2 justices have a comic opera named in their honor, Scalia Ginsburg. Ginsburg is the most senior justice age-wise now on the court. What are your thoughts about longevity on the court? You don't want to retire too early.
I will retire when I am no longer able to do the job full speed. At my age, one never knows when that will be, but it isn't now.